One of the things that I like best about new consoles, even though I'm kind of an old school guy, is the fact that they get constantly updated. Things get tweaked. Things get kind of switched around a bit. Things always improve. They don't stand still. Like back in the day, you got a Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo without buying a complete new add-on like a Sega CD or a 32X. You pretty much were set with what you had. You kind of were, had what you had. Like there were some instances, I guess you could make, like the jump pack on the Nintendo 64 or whatever. But overall, kind of stuck with what you had. There certainly wasn't like the firmware updates that we see nowadays, and we kind of take for granted. If you think about it, I mean, think of all the things we get in these updates. They give us full new features that weren't even in there, right? It used to be you had to use whatever was there. And then, of course, there's always the opposite side of things where, it's like the Nintendo Switch where there's literally nothing. I don't even think there's Netflix on that. But, it's so interesting to see how far we've come. And I think both Microsoft and Sony have played a big part in that. I can remember when Netflix first came to Xbox 360, and you're like, whoa, is this even possible? And turns out it was, and it ended up going everywhere via a disc later on or whatever. So, yeah, I think that it's pretty cool the way that we see things evolve. And Sony is now evolving things once again. They went with a different sort of solid-state drive than Microsoft, and Microsoft with their proprietary one. A lot of people question that. I question it because if you look at one of the big downfalls of the PlayStation Vita, it is a proprietary, piece of, equipment. Like getting even nowadays, getting storage on that is super expensive. Go back to the Xbox 360 era, and you know what? The stuff on Xbox 360 was super expensive as well, right? It was just outrageous. So a lot of people just like the way that Sony has done things with the proprietary or non-proprietary way that they've kind of gone about things. But it's also a little bit difficult on Sony's side because they only want certain kinds with certain speeds, and you want it to be able to mesh and things like that. So, the way I look at it is they needed to make deals with companies to do these types of things, and now they're doing it, and I think it's pretty cool. Sony has come a long, long way since back in the day. I like the way that they handled themselves with the PS5. I think it's a good console. Do I think it's the bee's knees or the best console ever? No. But it is a very well thought out console, and they plan things extremely well. So now that they're making deals and getting these, they're getting a better deal for a better solid state drive than what Microsoft has with the proprietary drives. It goes to show you that Sony's kind of on the ball. I want to get into this announcement. It's going to be pretty interesting. Stick around. Let's get started. As I said previously, it's very interesting because what Microsoft and Sony are doing are a little bit different, and Sony has some advantages, Microsoft has some advantages. It's always going to be fun to see what those advantages and disadvantages are. Now, when it comes to announcements like this, I always go into it with a very much open mind and say, hey, what's going to happen here? Anything can happen, basically. And so it's always nice to see when some of these incredible things come about. Now, this is going to be good for what fans want, long term from PlayStation, right? So this is a really cool thing that came up, and it looks like Sony and Western Digital have revealed the first PlayStation 5 licensed solid-state drives, which is going to be good. This is helping PlayStation gamers a more uniform type expansion. Storage expansions for consoles are honestly a necessity now with how big some games get. Some of the PlayStation 5 titles also require enormous storage space, sometimes even breaching 100 gigabytes needed, like Gran Turismo 7 or a full install of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is actually almost 225 gigs. Sony in the past has enabled players to own their M.2 solid-state drives to the console to alleviate this, but now Western Digital and Sony comes the first official solid-state drive license for the PlayStation 5 itself, with the SN850 NVMe. Sporting various PlayStation logos on the device itself, this solid-state drive is meant to be specifically compatible with the PlayStation 5. These come in two variations, the 1TB and 2TB respectively. These are very fancy and cool looking devices, especially if you're somebody that's looking for something to kind of go along with your console and with what you want. I always find this to be very interesting because nowadays you do need, multiple storage devices and things like that. We want, we live in kind of a world that's a now type of mentality. And so with that being said, we want to be able to play the games that we want now. Not everybody has, super fast, amazing internet. I know, it's crazy. Like for me personally, I have, Starlink now, and it's much better. It's the fastest internet I've ever had. But even with that being said, it's not like some super amazing, thing that like some people have. I realize some people's got like gigabit internet and stuff like that. That's definitely not where I'm at. But, it is super interesting to see that, Sony is kind of marketing this towards a certain type of people. So, yeah, I like seeing these types of announcements. And it gives people a solid thing to look into buying, right? And what I mean by that is a lot of people are confused by what type of solid state drives to even buy, what's compatible. I get asked all the time, hey, what drive's compatible? But these solid state drives expand your console's effective storage capacity as it's meant to. But again, with games as big as the ones that I already listed, how effective will it be ultimately depends on the game sizes themselves. The two solid state drives have price tags attached to them, and the 1 terabyte version is $169.99 and the 2 terabyte is $279.99. So you see you're paying an extra $100 for that. The SN850 for the PS5 is obviously designed for the PlayStation 5, and the product specifications state that it's not intended for network attached storage or server oriented functions. You'll also have to update your PS5 to a specific version for it to even use the thing. So you'll need to do a bit of updating before you can use the storage expansion. Installing the solid state drive comes in the form of opening the console itself with your system shut down and unplugged. You remove the side panel, unscrew the solid state drive's expansion slot, then you can socket the drive in there, close it, rescrew, cover it, blah blah blah. Replace the side panel if you removed it, power on the console, and it will prompt you with instructions to format the solid state drive, and you're ready to go. Really, it sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is, to be honest with you. It's quite easy. You basically takes maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes as a whole once you get it all installed and powered back up and things like that. So yeah, really cool to see that from Sony. I love to see gamers get excited for like the future of what's going on and things like that. So yeah, I think this is really cool. This is a big step forward in what Sony is trying to get done. And again, it comes at a really good time because they're really pushing the solid state drive again with stuff like Final Fantasy being exclusive, specifically because the solid state drive, it does leave Microsoft out in the cold a little bit. And at the end of the day, that's probably not what Microsoft wants, although I feel like Xbox has a pretty good solid state drive as well. It's not nearly as good as what Sony is offering, so I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. But this is good news. Have any of you happened to pick up a solid state drive expansion yet for your PlayStation 5? If you've even managed to get a PS5, which is no small task, I would love to hear your story about it down below. Please let me know. I think it would be great to know what's going on. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you do enjoy my content, or if you just watch it, please leave a like on the video. It helps it to be seen, and it helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for enjoying my videos. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap gamer out.